Millions of kids struggle with learning, processing, and social emotional difficulties. These challenges interfere with their ability to reach their full potential. Dr. Karen Wilson is here to help. Her extensive background in pediatric neuropsychology and higher education have prepared her for this unique mission. Listen as she delivers content to inform, educate, and empower parents and educators. This will enable you to identify challenges that kids face and get them on the road to achieving their full potential. This is Diverse Thinking, Different Learning by Child Nexus.
Welcome back to the Diverse Thinking, Different Learning podcast. Before we dive in today, I just want to say thank you. One of my favorite parts of this podcast is hearing where you're listening from. And some of you tell me you're folding laundry, you're commuting on the subway, walking your dog, or listening after you've dropped the kids off at school. So wherever you are tuning in from, thank you so much for inviting me into your day. I just want you to know that I never take that for granted. Today's episode was inspired by a conversation I had with a parent who told me that she really wanted her son to be resilient, especially as he headed into a new school year at a new school. And I understood exactly what she meant. Every parent wants a child who can handle difficult things. But her comment also made me stop and think, have we started defining resilience in ways that can actually do children more harm than good? It seems like somewhere along the way, many of us began equating resilience with pushing through, holding it together, not complaining, working harder, being independent, and continuing to perform no matter how overwhelmed a child may actually feel internally. And I think that right now, as so many children and teens are navigating a new school year, it's the perfect time to revisit the idea of resilience. One of the concerns I have right now is that many children are being praised for coping while quietly exhausting themselves underneath the surface. And I've talked about that before. You know, the child that gets good grades, the high achieving athlete, the perfectionist, the quiet child, the easy child, the child who never wants to disappoint anyone, the child who appears mature, responsible, and capable. Sometimes the children we worry about the least are struggling the most internally. A child who is coping is not always the child who is thriving. And sometimes we confuse performance with well-being. So when we think about resilience, what does healthy resilience actually look like? Why do some kids with learning and thinking differences appear fine until they aren't? And most importantly, how can parents help children start the school year in ways that reduce overwhelm instead of unintentionally increasing it? What we don't want is to raise children who ignore their needs. We want our kids to recognize stress, regulate emotions, ask for support, recover from challenges, and function without sacrificing their mental health in the process. And if we keep that in mind, we see that resilience is not the absence of struggle, and it is not forcing kids to endure chronic stress without support. Resilience means tolerating frustration, solving problems, recovering from setbacks, and building confidence through manageable challenges. And healthy resilience grows when children feel supported, not when they feel chronically overwhelmed. So what I want to do is share 6 important ways that parents can help reduce burnout and support healthier resilience during the school year. Number 1, pay attention to effort, not just outcomes. And I know that many of you have heard that before. Some children are working twice as hard as their peers just to maintain the same level of quote unquote success. But because the grades look good or behavior looks compliant, adults may completely miss how much effort it is taking. So instead of asking, how did you do? What grade did you get? Also ask, how hard did that feel? And what took the most energy today? What feels stressful right now? And what helps you feel calmer? Because children can achieve while suffering internally. And we want children to know that their emotional well-being matters just as much, if not more, than their academic or athletic performance. Number 2, Build recovery time into the week. Many kids today are overscheduled and overstimulated. They have school, they have homework, sports, tutoring, activities, social pressure, constant stimulation, and very little downtime. And the nervous system needs recovery. Children need sleep, they need quiet, play, movement, opportunities to express their creativity. They need connection and downtime without constant pressure to perform. So, one important question for parents is, what actually helps my child recover? So, I want you to think about that. For some children, that may be movement. They need to move their bodies, listen to music, draw, read, spend time outside, building, gaming with healthy limits, or simply unstructured downtime. And this is important. Rest is important. And rest is not laziness. Recovery is productive and absolutely necessary for the nervous system. Number 3, reduce unnecessary perfectionism. Many children with learning and thinking differences become terrified of disappointing adults, their parents, their teachers, their coaches. This is especially true for children who are high achieving, gifted, anxious, or highly aware of the expectations of others or the perceived expectations of others. And I say that because a lot of adults will say that as long as they're working hard, I'm fine. But the perception of a child might be very different. And these children often begin believing their worth is tied to grades, performance, productivity, or being easy and not ruffling any feathers. So parents should pay attention to messages children may be internalizing. Do they feel loved only when they're succeeding? Do they feel safe when they make mistakes? Do they feel pressure to constantly achieve? Because perfectionism is often driven less by arrogance, that they are the best, that they have to be the best, and more by fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of disappointing others. And children who never feel allowed to struggle often stop asking for help. Number 4, normalize emotional honesty. Many children have learned that stress should be hidden. So they say, I'm fine, even when they're overwhelmed, or I don't care when they actually feel really defeated. Children need environments where they can say, this is hard. I am completely overwhelmed right now. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I need help. They need to be able to say those things out loud without feeling weak, without feeling dramatic or disappointing. And one of the healthiest things we can teach children is that needing support is not failure. Healthy resilience includes self-awareness, self-advocacy, recovery, adaptability, and knowing when support is needed. Number 5, watch for early signs of burnout instead of waiting for crisis. Burnout is really interesting because it often whispers before it screams. So parents should really pay attention to patterns like increased irritability, avoidance, constant exhaustion. You know, that child who says, I'm tired, I'm bored all the time. Difficulties with sleep, school refusal, headaches, stomach aches, a lack of motivation or a loss of motivation they seem to have before. Increased sensory sensitivity, emotional shutdown, or children saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I hate school. I don't care. And the one thing I tell parents all the time is that many children say, I don't care, when what they really mean is, I'm overwhelmed. So the earlier we intervene, the easier it is to support regulation before complete exhaustion sets in. And number 6, help children and teens feel valued beyond achievement. And this kind of piggybacks on what I've been saying all along. And it's probably one of the most important protective factors of all. Children need to know that they are loved and valued for who they are, not just for what they do or what they accomplish. So instead of only praising grades, awards, performance, or productivity. And this is true not only for parents, it's true for educators as well, and for other adults in a child's life, coaches, etc. What we want to do is also praise children and teens for kindness, for being self-aware, for creativity, for effort, for problem solving. We want to praise honesty and humor and persistence and self-advocacy. Young people need to know I matter even when I struggle. I matter even when things are hard. And I matter even when I'm not performing. Because sustainable confidence grows from feeling valued as a person and not just a performer. And finally, I want to leave parents who are listening with this. The goal is not raising children who never struggle. That is impossible. And the goal is definitely not raising children who silently tolerate unlimited amounts of stress, because that is not healthy. The goal is raising children who can experience challenge, recognize stress, ask for support, recover when they feel overwhelmed, and continue developing without sacrificing their mental health in the process. Because resilience is not emotional suppression. It's not denying your needs. It's not being in chronic survival mode. And resilience is not a child quietly drowning while still getting good grades. Real resilience grows when children feel safe enough to struggle, supported enough to recover, and valued for who they are. Again, not just for how well they perform. Thank you so much for listening. Please let me know if this episode resonated with you. Let me know. And if you know someone else who may need this reminder today, please share it with them. I appreciate you. Until next time, take care.
Thanks for listening to Diverse Thinking, Different Learning by Child Nexus. For more resources, visit us online at childnexus.com.